Okay, in this series of videos, I am going to show you how to pair Maya with Side Effects Houdini. Side Effects Houdini is a pretty powerful effects and animation software. However, what we're going to be using it for is its procedural modeling techniques. And so what we can do by pairing Maya with Houdini is generate a number of variable models that are iterative that you can then export really quickly to generate from a single form many varieties of that form. So it's great for things like organic kind of landscapes and plants and buildings and things like that. So this is something that we're going to generate. It's going to look something like this, where we can then have a set of controls that allow us to change the kind of random variability of, in this case, a landscape model. Okay, so to get started, I'm going to dive into Maya and show you the models that I've generated for this scene. I have 3 here, and so I'm just going to really quickly model a 4th so I can kind of just cover how to model a leaf shape really quickly, or how I've generated these kind of forms. And so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of these models that I already have, and I'm just going to hide them in my scene, and I'm going to always start with a cube, and I'm going to kind of make it really thin, and then I like using obviously insert edge loop and using this with the edge loop multiplier on to generate some basic edges here. Hit Q to go back to the select, and I also want to be working, make sure I'm working here in Object X mode when I'm modeling. So that whatever I do to one side is going to be done to the other. And maybe I'll model like an additional petal shape here. So that's my basic form. Now I can go to my object mode, go back to the modeling toolkit and hit smooth. And now I have a nice smooth petal. And then I used a deformer on this model. And this is a bend deformer. And I'm going to go to my attribute editor to see which direction this is bending in, and back here to this bend handle, and let's rotate it using my rotate. Let's see if I want to rotate the bend. Which direction am I going to bend this in? Back here, and we have this curvature, but I'd like to rotate the bend handle. Yeah, so it's bending this direction instead. Let's increase the curvature so I can really see what this is doing here. Okay, and yeah, let's make this a real 90 degrees, and maybe also in the Z 90 degrees. Now I have a nice kind of curvature to this petal. And then when I'm done with this bend, I'm going to select my cube. This is going to be petal 2. I'm going to say edit, delete all by type history here, and then maybe I'll add one more bend deformer. And again, go to the curvature, see which direction it's bending in, change it 90 degrees here. And now I have a kind of separate petal. Let's turn this to -90 and then change some other attributes for the bend. Let's remove that low bound here so it's only affecting the top, maybe. And then I'm going to move the bend handle down. And yeah, maybe something like that is going to work for me. That's a nice kind of petal shape. And then again, select the petal, edit, delete all by type history. And then I am also going to change the position of this petal in the grid. I am going to want to first change the pivot of this object. So I'm going to snap to point, and I'm going to bring this down to the base of this object. I'm going to hit D to do that. The D will change the pivot's position. And then I'm going to turn off snap to point. I'm going to snap to grid, and I'm going to move this up to the grid. So now right at the middle of this point is where the center of the origin of the model will be whenever I import it into Houdini. So if I want to manipulate this petal any further, I might go to vertex mode here, still working with symmetry, and maybe using my soft selection turned on. I can, and don't have snap to grid still turned on. I can kind of adjust the shape of the petal a bit more to give it more variability, or just to give it like a more interesting shape, really. Let's see. And maybe this is too large of a fall off radius, so and I can always do something a bit more exaggerated here, right? And then like smooth it again, object mode here, and then maybe I'm gonna smooth this one more time. Okay, so now I have an interesting second petal. One more time, delete all by type history, and we'll just freeze the transformations on this. And now to bring this into Houdini along with my other objects, I am going to go to File, Export Selection with my polygon, with my primitive mesh selected here, my polygon model selected. I'm going to say File, Export Selection, and then I'm going to call this Petal 2, and I'm going to export as an OBJ. Now, if you don't have this drop down, if it's on my ASCII and you don't have OBJ as a possible export, you can go to Windows, Settings, Preferences, Plugin Manager, search for OBJ, and make sure the OBJ export bundle is loaded. So File, Export Selection, Petal 2. I'm going to call it Petal 2. And make sure I know where I'm exporting and that I've set a scene folders and things in Maya, and then also Houdini.